Welcome to Empowerment Beyond Trauma, how to use your strengths to achieve peace and justice from military sexual assault. Hi, I'm Teresa Crossmann. I'm also an Army veteran and military sexual trauma survivor. I enlisted in the Army in 1980. I've been attached to the Army up until 2000 because of my particular specialties in job. I did physically get out in 1984, but have been attached since up until 2000. And I started doing work with survivors before they called it MST survivors in 1994. Out of the desperate and selfishness of needing help with my sexual assault in the military. There wasn't anything available, not at the VA and not in the civilian world as far as military sexual assault. So luckily I was able to find sexual assault specialists who I kind of educated them on the military, and then that's how we worked it all together. So Svava, I'm messing it up. Say it for me.
That's okay.
Say it for me.
Svava.
Svava. I said it perfectly before. Svava Brooks. Svava Brooks is here to talk with us today to talk about TRE, and I'll have her explain that to you. Here you go, Svava. Take it away.
Thank you. And I just want to start by saying thank you for your service, and to anybody that's listening. Yeah. And also to, you are clearly a trailblazer, and I can relate to so much that what you shared. You know, I started pulling together some things because there wasn't anything and I needed it. And then of course, when we find the pieces that work for us, we can't help but want to share them with other survivors. So for that, I want to thank you. It takes courage to do what you have been doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be here and excited to share with you a little bit about TRE, tension and trauma release exercises, and just to give a little backstory, you know, why it was so profound for me in my healing. My story is childhood sexual trauma. Basically grew up in a home where I never felt that I never went to bed feeling safe in my house. And we know today the prolonged exposure of stress, what that can do to our bodies. I started my healing when I was in college. So I've been going at it for a long time. And the most frustrating piece was finding the solutions. A lot of people could tell me what was wrong with me and that I was broken, that I had PTSD, I had depression, anxiety, you know, you name it. But I'm like, okay, but inside of me, there was something that kept pushing. There has to be something else. There has to be something else. And so a few years ago, I was doing what you're doing. I was researching, looking up experts on trauma, and I found Dr. David Berceli. And there's tons of YouTube videos where he explains it and is walking people through it. And so I encourage people to look him up. But for me, when I saw him explain it and I saw him, people tremor, and I'll explain in a minute what that is, it was my body that responded. So like, it was like a lightning coming in through my body that said, yes, this is it. And because, you know, I knew all the healing modalities, I had tried everything, but yet I was still stuck in that knee-jerk reaction, right? When I got defensive or got into an argument or things didn't go as planned, I found myself saying things or doing things or withdraw as always. And it was incredibly frustrating. And I kept coming back to being painfully hard on myself. Like, I'm broken, I'm stupid, you know, this can't be fixed. But when I looked into TRE, it was the piece that helped me to understand, right? The part of my body that so beautifully had protected me, right? That had intervened when the pain got too much, right? Your body will literally disconnect you. Yes. And I survived a lot of my childhood, just kind of floating up here in the ceiling, kind of looking down as to what was happening, thinking I was crazy, never dared to tell anybody, right? But once David Berceli explained the same part of your nervous system that protects you, and we know about the fight, flight, or freeze response in our bodies, in our nervous system. It's normal to go up into that a little bit, right? But for so many of us, because of the traumatic experience and that we weren't supported by caregivers or, you know, our boss or teacher or anybody around us after a traumatic event happened, many of us still carry the tension, the stress hormones, the cortisol that was pumped into your nervous system, into your psoas muscles to help you either fight, flight, or literally would, you know, have you collapse if you realize I'm not getting out of this situation. You body literally plays dead. And once he explained that and how our bodies still have the capacity to wake up the mechanism in the nervous system that can release. So all mammals know how to, once the traumatic event is over, we tap into this natural mechanism, this innate knowing of the body to shake. And many of you, if you have animals, all mammals do this. If you have dogs, right? When they get super excited, what do? They shake. What's their body doing? They're releasing the toxic hormones, the overabundance of stress in the nervous system out. And we humans know how to do this too. Teresa, you may, you know, have remember an event where you were, something unexpected happened, or you maybe were doing training or public speaking. Maybe you could feel a little tremor in your body.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could see it in my hands.
Yes. So what do as humans? We shut it down. We're like, oh, you know, it's not okay to look scared. It's not okay to look all frazzled. You know, they're going to judge me, or they're going to think I'm crazy, or that I have some sickness, right? Mm-hmm. But the truth is, this is what your body is meant to do. Your nervous system is meant to do. And so what TRE is, and this is what David Berceli, you know, developed this method. And basically his history is he spent a lot of time in the Middle East, you know, in war-torn countries, and saw how everybody's trauma responds in the bunkers when something was being flown over, right? We all respond here. He started looking around. It doesn't matter what language you speak, how old you are, what country you're from, how much money you have in the bank, all our bodies respond the same way. So he started looking into it, kind of going backwards, and then figured out in the psoas muscle, if we do a certain exercises, yoga stretches, there's a set of 7 yoga stretches that you do to activate the tremors naturally in the body. And so over time, right, your body starts to both release day-to-day stress, which is, there's a lot of, unfortunately, we live in a very hyper to-do world, right? Do more, better, faster, to come back into our bodies and learn to listen, slow things down. Like I survived my childhood up here. And when we have chronic tension and pain in our bodies, when we don't know what to expect, we don't know how to handle what's going on inside, of course, we avoid it. Your nervous system doesn't even want you in there. So we have to be a little intentional about it. Mm-hmm. So over time, I learned, right, and by becoming a practitioner, I started my process in 2015, and it actually took me 2 years to become a practitioner. People can become certified in, 6 to 8 months or a year. My body said, no. You need twice the time. Because what I was asking my body to do to relax, my body had no idea. I didn't have any relaxed path to go to. Mm-hmm. So I was literally creating peace and calm and grounded awareness in my body for the first time, complex trauma, right? So I had to really get to know my body. And so going slow was crucial for me, and is very, very important as part of the process. So I'm going to pause it and see if you have any questions, but that was kind of my entry into TRE and all the other pieces. started falling into place. Everything that I knew about trauma, I started to embody that knowledge and was able to live out of it instead of this automatically reacting from past tension that was still held in my body.
Wow, this is amazing because I just started doing yoga after years and years of doing military, what we call PE or physical training or PT. And, you know, and you probably know it's very high impact and masculine and so to speak, or whatever. And so it was recommended by my son, as a matter of fact, who was a yoga instructor, to start doing yoga. And so I did. And the first time it kicked my butt. Not, you know, I thought, hoorah, you know, Army girl, I could hit, you know, it kicked my butt. But I had a good instructor, thank goodness. And it did teach me to get connected to my body, because like you, I floated around all the time. A lot of times I'll say, I'm tethering, you know, or, you know, I'm just barely hanging in. And as you were speaking, I'm thinking about, wow, when I was doing yoga, I was actually doing this. I didn't know it was a thing, that you called it something. And I didn't know until you mentioned it that I too was learning how to create a relaxed state for the first time.
Yes.
So thank you for clarifying that for me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are viewing this right now that are probably getting clarified too. So that's I just wanted to add that input with that. So
beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. That's powerful. And again, any exercise, and I'm a huge advocate for self-care, because anything we do to take care of our bodies is going to bring more awareness to our bodies, right? And so for many of us who don't take care of our bodies, it's because we have a story about our bodies. And so the more I could become aware and understand why I hated my body, why I didn't want to take care of it, why I resented, you know, what it had felt maybe during the abuse, or, you know, how I had acted out as a young person. It wasn't even the trauma itself that was causing me problems, but how my body had responded to what had happened to me as a child. So being able to separate those two. So, you know, all that inner reflecting, and just like you said, recognizing, oh, wait a minute, doing yoga, slowly coming, you know, into my body, being present and grounded and aware to it, is literally you showing up for yourself, to supporting you, you know, yourself to release whatever energy, whatever story, whatever memory might still be held in your body. And I mean, the truth is, you're the safest person for you. I'm the safest person for me.
yes.
And TRE helped me to develop kind of that witnessing part of myself. Once I started, you know, tremoring, which actually the tremors, it's what's different between TRE and yoga. Yoga is a voluntary movement. TRE, you activate your autonomic nervous system, which is, I get the tremors going, and then I just lay there and let my body shake. And that's why in the beginning, for a lot of people, if they see it and they don't know what it is, it can be a little startling, because it looks like someone is out of control. And what do we fear most?
Out of control.
Out of control. So that's why, you know, the particular group of people that I tend to attract have trauma. And so I go, for some of them, they feel like excruciatingly slow, but I'm doing it because I'm wanting them to help them navigate that relationship we have with our mind, and the need to stay safe when we have trauma, and the need to be in control. And how do we slowly relax from that and back off from it? We only do that by experiencing it.
Wow. Wow. I can't wait to go through it myself now, you know.
Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, I recommend it's developed as a self-help tool. And that's why I was intrigued by it, because as a trauma recovery coach, I was looking for tools that I can give you to heal yourself. right? No one is doing the healing for you. You are the one doing it. And TRE was, you know, the tool that has helped me the most. And it is something that I do by myself, for myself. Yes, I had to take 2 years of very intense, intentional support. Because we don't tremor if we don't feel safe. And
Right.
that's a good thing. And so I needed another body in my space to be able to let go of that control I talked about. My body's like, nope, it's not safe. There's nobody here. What's going to happen if it gets too much, or if you get overwhelmed, right? Because that's my history. I never had a safe history. So I had to give myself that. I needed a lot of one-on-one practitioner attention for a long time. I invested in that. And then I was later able to do it in groups. And then I'm now able to do it on my own. And now my body's like, hey, we know what's happening. We're okay. We do this. I don't need the whole long process as I used to, because, you know, my body feels safe in doing it. So you can, on the TRE for All website, there is a list of practitioners all over the world. And also, so if you want to find one near you, but unfortunately now in the world, as we are socially isolating at the moment, you know, a lot of people are teaching this online, and actually 90% of my work I do over the internet. And so I teach both one-on-one over the internet, and actually started doing group TRE classes online. And
so if any of our viewers wanted to learn from you, they can get in touch with you through your links that you've provided for us?
Yep, through my website. Yep.
Through your website.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Yeah. Well, I love, you know, again, because our bodies are so amazing. Because of TRE, I fell in love with my body. Yeah. I love my body. It's been through so much. And now it's like, oh my God, it was on my side the whole time. It wasn't working against me. It was actually doing what it's meant to do. I just didn't understand it. So now this is my best friend. This is my greatest ally. This is how I connect with you. This is how I help others, is through my body, my awareness of my body, my connection to my heart now.
Oh, so that's why I can feel your heart so well. Even
I'd like, yes, exactly. Well, this is one of them, the tool that I'm really advocate for, and also self-compassion. I'm a huge fan of self-compassion, because most of us are not very warm and kind towards ourselves. And that was the gift that I was going to offer to your audience. I have a very brief explanation of what self-compassion is, and a guided self-compassion meditation, because again, I was so incredibly hard on my body for so long, that learning to be warm and kind and soothing and gentle with me was huge. And actually, we now know, by you know, science has affirmed that, you know, for many of us, self-compassion is the missing piece to creating lasting change. It actually changes our nervous systems and how we relate both to ourselves and others. So it's a very powerful, important tool to learn.
That is just amazing how you're putting everything together, and that our bodies really did save us. They were really there for us.
Yes, absolutely.
You were talking about your book. Is it the book on TRE that you were talking about, or is it the we were talking about a little bit earlier before?
No, actually, I'm happy to hold it up. This is you know, when I meet people in person, I offer them these little booklets, but this is, you know, from the Tension and Trauma Release Organization, TRE, and where people can go and learn more about it. And also on my website, there is a page dedicated to TRE with video that explains what it is and how it works. There's also a message there from David Berselli. And so again, people, it is simple. Like I said, the yoga stretches, they're done just to kind of warm up the body. It's not a yoga practice per se, but just to activate the tremors in a way that we feel safe. It's like slow entry into your body. And we work our way from our feet all the way up into our psoas muscles, which, you know, like I was holding up the picture for you earlier, showing you the psoas muscle.
Okay, and where is that located? That looks like it's in the hips.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yep. And so, I mean, if you just think about it, if someone ran into your room right now and you would obviously, you know, be startled and protect yourself, that's the muscle group that contracts.
Wow.
So they're connected. It's the largest muscle group in our body and the only one that connects the upper body to the lower body. So the back, as you could see, the interior of the spine, then down into your legs, into your thigh bones, and holds us together. And so learning to relax those muscles, right? When these muscles contract, it also works up to your back and into your shoulder and your neck. So if people have tension headaches, it starts down there and works its way up as we are curling inward to protect ourselves. So learning to relax the psoas muscles has the ripple effect. Then everything starts to relax up your back. So,
well, that makes so much sense in my recovery. I think it was 97 I started doing acupuncture because looking back, you know when things happen and why and da da da. So I remember I was around 18 years old and I was having irritable bowel syndrome. So a lot of my stuff went into my gut. So I was being treated with that. And I remember I was laying on my tummy and the acupuncturist was touching that area on the back, right? And he goes, "My goodness, you are so tight there." And I go, "I thought I just had tight glutes. I mean, like I'd been working out or something." And he goes, "No, you're tight." And I says, "Well, I'm probably storing a lot of my trauma there."
exactly.
I didn't know what I was really talking about at the time, but it just makes sense.
That's exactly, and that's what we know now. The vagus nerve that goes into the lower part of our body, it's highly attuned. Like we get that gut feeling that unfortunately so many of us override. That's the part of your nervous system in your body that is sensing, is there danger? And often in our gut is where we feel it first before it even registers up here. And this is how many trauma survivors have stomach issues.
It makes so much sense.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot in here. We could talk a while about it.
I know.
I'm really trying to simplify the process, but the power of it, and I think the most important piece is that once you learn how to do this and you do it safely, and safely meaning you are self-regulated, you're grounded, you don't check out during the process. I mean, spiritual bypass, meditating and checking out is often easier, but being in your body while you're experiencing what your body is experiencing and just holding a safe space for it, that's what we need to heal. And at the same time, we're developing our loving, kind presence for ourselves when we do that. Once we learn how to do that, right, then we are better equipped to take care of ourselves, to understand what we need, to set boundaries, right? It just, so many pieces come together when we connect to ourselves. And for me, the most surprising piece was my spiritual connection deepened so much through my body. Everything else, connection to the outside world, to the unseen world, deepened profoundly.
Yes, it's wow. And when you're talking about that muscle group, I just want you to kind of lead in to hear, or what I'm trying to lead in is that this happened in 97, okay, when the acupuncture thing and the tightness and all that. And here it is, it's, a couple of decades later, and I'm not tight like that anymore, because I've done the work. But I want to do the TRE because I know I have more to do. So,
Yes.
But and also I noticed, the more that I did the self-care, and, you know, I think I was trying to do techniques like TRE, and some of them were successful and whatnot. But what I'm saying is I've noticed within my whole self the chain reaction of healing throughout my body, my physical body. Not to mention, you know, what's going up on the head, you know, and in my heart and soul, like you were talking about.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. And, you know, and the thing for me was that there was so much, you know, childhood trauma, like pre-verbal trauma, even, that there was no way I was going to get to. And, you know, many of us have PTSD or physical flashbacks, even emotional flashbacks, and we have no idea why or where it's coming from. So TRE actually is a tool you can use to release that without the need to talk about it, right? Because most of us have, you know, yes, talking about it and journaling about it and processing, it's all important part of the process.
Yes.
But I had talked about my stuff to death, and I was like, there has to be something else that I need to explore. And so for me, you know, this tool was it, you know, getting to stuff that there was no way I could cognitively relate to or connect to. I knew stuff had happened, but there were too many missing pieces. And so, and working with a practitioner that could help see that, yeah, this is clearly old stuff. But then at the same time, also just letting go of needing to know why. What am I releasing? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to trust that this beautiful body is just taking like the layers of the onion. It's just going to peel off this layer, and then this layer, and then this layer, and then this layer. So
that is just, I am so glad that I was able to do this interview with you, because I got to learn that, I mean, I already knew that trauma got stuck in the body, and that, but I didn't know there was a way to release it, you know, because like you said, you talk yourself and you talk yourself, and you're able to talk because you've remembered, you know, over time, memories come back, you've peeled away layers of onions. But what do you do about the stuff that got stuck, that there's no verbiage to, right? Or memory to, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then what happens, actually, the need to talk about it, when you let the tension go, goes away. It's, you know, I do a lot of group TRE, and I've, you know, being from Iceland, I go there usually twice a year and lead groups. And I always remember this one woman who came after her first class, and she said, it was amazing. I've been arguing with my husband for weeks over this thing. And after the TRE class, I went home, and it's like, I really don't want to argue about this anymore. And it's like, all of a sudden there was peace between them. And of course, it makes sense if we are walking around in life like this, because there's tension in our body. We think this body thinks it needs to protect itself. And it's sending up messages to the mind, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And we keep looking out here for what's wrong, instead of like, no, there's something wrong, something that happened to you that was wrong. And you're still carrying the memory, the imprint of that in your body, and you're continuing to sending that messages. So all of a sudden our worldview goes from here, because we are protecting ourselves naturally. All of a sudden we can relax, and our choices and our connection and our openness and willingness expands hugely. Make sense?
Oh my gosh. And it's amazing how much more beautiful and bigger and brighter your world gets when you're able to release that.
Yeah. So when I trusted me and my body, no human is a threat. No human is a threat. Because I see you, my friend. I see you, and you are just like me.
Wow. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. So you were talking about something that you wanted to share with the viewers, your gift for the viewers.
Yes, I mentioned that the self-compassion practice again, because I found, again, it was hard to love this body. It was hard to be kind to it, because people said, oh, just be nice to yourself. Oh, just be loving. And I'm like, inside of me, I have no idea what that looks like or sounds like, right?
Right.
But of course, we know when the timing is right, the right teacher comes into your life. And I happened to go to a weekend workshop with Kristen Nuff, the self-compassion guru, founder, researcher, done incredible work. And so I started using it because I knew it was good for me. And so over time, started applying simple self-compassions. You've seen me a couple of times put my hand here on my body. This is me actively giving my body love and kindness. And so as I hold my hand, exactly, your body understands warmth. So it actually helps to rewire our bodies and minds by actively giving it a little bit of warm presence, warm connection, and being aware, am I judging myself or loving myself? Am I isolating, or am I looking for support? Or am I being mindful, or am I minimizing or over dramatizing what's going on? So these steps became mantras of mine. And so I empower my clients with those tools. And so my free gift is basically a short handout that explains self-compassion and an audio that I guide you through a self-compassion meditation.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is going to be so helpful. I can't wait to check it out myself.
Yeah, you're so very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So is there anything else that you would like to add or wrap up?
Yes, I think I just want to remind everybody, if you're here watching or listening, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your body. There never was anything wrong with you. And you right now have everything that you need to heal and to restore. Absolutely. You may need to learn a few things. You may need a little bit of a support, but you, my friend, are fully equipped. So that's the beauty of this body that you're sitting, and the power of your heart, and the power of community. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here with you today, Teresa. I really appreciate the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know our viewers are really, really gonna take a lot from this interview. I guess self-love, self-compassion, and self-care, those are something that I feel are very super important for us, and it really, it's so healing when you're able to do that, and when you've never done this before. So thank you so much, Svava. I was saying it so good before. Svava. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And don't forget to look for the links for Svava's website and for the self-compassion handout. So thanks a lot. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye now.